In recent years, the role of diversity, equity, and inclusion in animation has been widely discussed. While some people see it as a way to promote authentic storytelling or representation, others worry it prioritized identity over creative merit. In this study, I will explore the impact of DEI on hiring, storytelling, and character design through case studies and creator interviews. The animation industry has not been diverse and inclusive for many years. According to a study in 2018, female producers were only involved in 31% of animated films, and only 3% of animation directors were women. Women held only 19% of key leadership positions in animation, with only 7% women of color. As for on-screen representation, classic animated characters often portray stereotypes. For example, in Disney's The Princess and the Frog, its first black princess Tiana is the only princess whose story revolves around financial struggles. This reinforces the stereotype of black characters' connection with poverty. Also, she's a frog for most of the film, so some people said it's dehumanization and it shows how non-white characters are outsiders. With globalizations and technology, the creative industry has become a platform for different people to tell their stories. Since animation reaches a wide audience, many studios have started including DEI into their workplace and production process. The purpose of introducing DEI to animation is to tell diverse stories and build safe workplaces. In my interview with Joanna Quinn, a British animation director, she said she has noticed that in recent years, the industry has put stronger emphasis on diversity, not only in storytelling, but also in awards, film festivals, and other industry recognition.
My experience, yes, definitely. I don't work in a big studio, and so I just make my own films and have our own studio. So my experience is very limited, and it's from my little bubble. And so my experience in the animation industry is the interaction in our studio, and film festivals. So that would be. Oh, and I'm also a member of the Academy in America, the Oscar Academy. So those are my sort of my points of reference. And I would say in festivals, it has changed remarkably. It really remarkably in the last 4 years, particularly. So many more films by women, women's stories, so many more women on juries. And the most remarkable thing, I think, is that the stories that the women are telling are really personal and quite strong.
Before diving deeper, we need to define how animation studios implement DEI in practice. Major studios like Disney, Netflix, and DreamWorks promote DEI through career chances or development programs for underrepresented talent, mentorship, education, and networking opportunities, internal diversity measures that affect hiring and workplace. Simply put, DEI starts internally with hiring policies and workplace changes before being reflected in on-screen representation. So how does DEI actually influence creators? As more diverse films are being released, some people question whether this trend is really promoting inclusivity or political correctness. Some people worry that prioritizing representation over merit could lead to poor storytelling, as hiring decisions may be based on identity rather than skill. For example, news suggests that well-written scripts were rejected for more diverse projects. Not only that, some talented artists struggle to find work if they don't fit diversity criteria. However, many successful diverse creators have proven their talent and made a significant impact on the industry. For instance, Jennifer Lee is Disney's first female animation director. She co-directed and wrote Frozen, one of the biggest blockbusters in animated movies. Domi Shi is an Oscar-winning director for her short film Bao. She is also the first Chinese-Canadian woman to solo direct a Pixar film. These cases show that even though DI does bring more diversity into the field, talent and storytelling are still essential factors to success. It's important to approach this issue from a creator's perspective. From my research and interviews, the answer is yes, but not in a way many people might think. It is not about forcing DI elements into films, but rather a subtle influence. To explore this, I examined animated films from major studios with clear DI guidelines. First one, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse from Sony. Encanto from Disney, and Strange World, also from Disney. These films incorporate diverse characters and cultural representation. In Spider-Verse, the protagonist Miles Morales is the son of an African American father and a Puerto Rican mother. And in Encanto, the story is set in a Colombian-inspired world. In Strange World, the protagonist Ethan Clade is Disney's first openly gay character. From the interview articles, we can see that diversity and representation were a huge concern for creators' creative process. Director Peter Ramsey said that the team drew inspiration from their personal family experiences to shape Miles Morales' world in a way that felt authentic and relatable as an Afro-Latino teenager. For example, they designed Miles' parents carefully. His dad is a police officer and his mom is a nurse. They are hardworking people who always wear uniforms. These details made the family dynamics more realistic. Ramsey also pointed out that the animation industry is becoming more diverse. Artists from different backgrounds are given a chance to work on major productions. Moreover, the film's core message itself is about inclusivity and self-identity, which is anyone can wear the mask and be a hero. Through the multiverse concept of character designs, the movie introduced a wide range of Spider People, including Gwen Stacy, Japanese American Penny Parker, and female villain Dr. Olivia Octavius. This approach showed how diversity can be naturally put into a strong story. From the start, the creators of Encanto saw diversity as a crucial factor of their story. They chose Colombia as the setting because of its rich cultural and ethnic backgrounds and also as where magical realism was born. The filmmakers believed this setting would blend perfectly with the fantasy and family story genre. To make sure their depiction is authentic, the production team also worked closely with Colombian cultural consultants and Latin staff within Disney to gain valuable feedback. From the film's success, we can tell that culturally specific stories don't limit audience appeal. By depicting Colombian culture with sincerity and delivering a strong story, Encanto resonated with audiences worldwide and proved that DEI can enhance storytelling. Strange World is set in the fantasy world while racial and LGBTQ+ representation are clear on screen. The protagonist Ethan is a gay teenager, but his identity is not a major plot point. It is simply part of who he is. From its early development stages, Strange World was designed to allow audiences to see themselves on screen, so diversity became a natural part of storytelling and not an afterthought. Director Don Hall said that they tried to create a world where diversity is a norm. Co-director and writer Ki Nguyen has Asian heritage, and he related deeply to the multicultural family's theme. We can tell that the creators present a world reflecting their life and their attitude towards the world. This movie presents a world that is already diverse, where different characters just exist naturally. Through these articles and interviews, it is clear that DEI impacts both story development and character design. However, these considerations are a product of the creator's own experiences, research, and collaboration with diverse communities, not a product of studio mandates. Animation studios hire creators with different stories to tell, and they naturally weave DEI into their work. The success or failure of a movie is not solely determined by DEI, but the impact of DEI on creative decisions is undeniable. When I interviewed story artist Raha Dabiri, I asked whether she consciously considers diversity and representation in her work. She explained that creators do think about DEI, but the process is more about collaborating with directors and producers to develop characters and narratives that feel real and right. Research plays a crucial role in exploring character behaviors and personalities because these aspects should align with the character's background. When designing or creating, do you consider diversity, inclusion, representation?
I mean, like as an artist, I do personally. I think it's a lot of collaboration with the executive that you're working with, or I'm sorry, the executive producer of the show that you're working with. I think there's a lot of like intention behind like communicating, oh, I want this character, this person, and this person, and this person. I want them to be of this background. I want them to kind of, because we really get to know like who the character is, what their Starbucks order is, if they even go to Starbucks, if they like coffee or if they like matcha, like the specifics of who they are.
Yeah.
And I think the diversity is definitely like an important one, like how they grew up, what's like their personality like, what kind of household did they grow up in, what's their culture. So I do definitely see that for myself as a designer, and just like kind of giving them little like bites of like, oh, are they, do they have Iranian tendencies? Are they someone that grew up like, in I'm not even sure, like in Ireland, or like are they French Canadian, you know? Are they South American? So yeah, there's definitely a lot of talk about that, or like prioritizing who they are in their place on the planet and like where they've been like.
Both Joanna Quinn and Raha Daveri emphasize that DEI provides new insights. They are encouraged to think outside the box and represent characters genuinely. But this is not due to policy enforcement, but rather a natural approach to storytelling. This kind of exploration impacts the outcome because accurate representation not only shows an openness and respect to understand different cultures, but also allows creators to explore their own identities. For audiences, the accuracy of on-screen representation affects their trust in the story and the studio behind it. If a film gets their culture and identity right, they are more likely to feel seen and valued. Some blame DEI for failed animated films by saying that people don't enjoy woke culture. Yet, some critics and analysis prove that the movie's failure is rarely due to DEI alone. Instead, factors such as weak storytelling, poor marketing, or a lack of audience engagement play a bigger role. Through this research, it is clear that DEI influences animation in multiple ways, from hiring and creative decisions to how the audience perceives it. Major studios have taken up DEI guidelines, and this has led to more diverse creative teams and representation in animation. Case studies illustrate even more that most creators consider DEI at the beginning of the production process and draw inspiration from their own experiences or work with diverse people. When I asked Joanna Quinn about the challenges and opportunities that DEI brings, this was her answer.
I think it makes you think outside of the box. I think it makes you question what you think is normal, and then you think, okay, well, what if instead of a white character, what if this character was black? You know, how would that affect the story? And then suddenly it becomes different, you know, and more interesting. And you think, well, that wouldn't happen, would it? And so, you know, it starts to question what you think is normal, and,
Yeah.
and it opens it all up. So it's good.
Like many creators, she considers DEI positive. No matter the story is about her own or other groups of people, diversity makes artists think differently and create more meaningful stories and characters. As this research has shown, the topic is still highly debated. While some people consider DEI positive, others are concerned about its impacts on creative choices. Ultimately, it's a matter of finding a balance between DEI and strong storytelling, ensuring that stories are relatable.